There's no introduction to this video. All I gotta say is hello. If you have not watched Spider-Man No Way Home, you owe it to yourself to go watch this movie. I'll be spoiling everything about this movie, so you are been warned. Now, the first thing I want to say is that if you have watched my fucking Spider-Man Wasted Potential video, I want to basically say thank you. And for those who really agreed with my opinion on that in that video, I once again thank you. But those who disagreed with me, I think you're gonna love this video the most, because I have seen the light.
The band!
Do you see the light?
The band!
Do you see the light?
What light?
Have you seen the light?
Yes! Yes! Jesus H. Goddamn Christ! I have seen the light!
And I gotta say, you know when a movie is good is when the movie isn't even fucking over and you're applauding and you have tears running out your eyes. That's how much I love No Way Home. This movie was everything I wanted from a Spider-Man movie. It is everything I've been saying the MCU Spider-Man movie needs to be, and then some. This movie felt like a fucking fever dream. I walked into this movie saying to myself, this movie's gonna be ass. I'm not gonna enjoy it. I had so many doubts for weeks. As soon as the movie embargo lifted, I was like, everyone's praising it. All you guys have been blinded by nostalgia. I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy this movie. There's no possible way they could possibly make me enjoy this fucking movie after what they did in Far From Home. But in this movie, No Way Home, said Kevin Feige, Amy Pascal, the whole Marvel team and Sony team said, we hear you. We're going to address every one of your complaints in the movie. We promise you we will give you the Spider-Man you've been waiting for. And Tom, I love this man. I love Tom Holland. This man is a great dude. But he is officially Spider-Man in my eyes now. He has finally earned the title of Spider-Man. And I just couldn't believe what I was watching on the screen. This movie is a fucking, I keep saying a fever dream. It's a fever dream. But what really caught my attention and what really made me look at the whole Home trilogy differently is that I realized that throughout the course of all these Home trilogies, each movie is a lesson / origin story for Spider-Man. And I was so stunned when I caught to that conclusion after watching the movie. I was like, this movie felt like this movie and the Home trilogy is basically building Spider-Man. You got Homecoming teaching Peter to be more responsible, teaching him that you don't need to be like Tony to make a difference. Sometimes the small stakes are just as important as the big stakes, and you don't need to be an Avenger to make a difference. Being an Avenger is not what makes you a hero. Doing the right thing is what makes you a hero. And then you got Far From Home, which I still have real doubts in that movie. I don't really like it still, but I thought about it after rewatching all the Spider-Man movies. That movie is really about the unrelenting battle between good versus evil. That you cannot take a break. That when you decide to be a hero, you have to make that sacrifice. And that sometimes the sacrifice is not easy. And sometimes you want to take the break. But you know, if you take that break, something bad could happen. And I thought about that. And I was like, wow. And No Way Home is basically consequence. That every action has a consequence. And that you have to make self-sacrificing decisions in order to protect the people you love, whether you want to or not. That is what being a hero is. All three of these movies touches upon a crucial thing of Spider-Man as a character. And I was fucking losing my mind when I saw this shit. I was like, what the fuck? The weight of this movie. I was like, what the fuck? This movie is broken up into 3 acts. And I thought about this more when I finished watching the movie. I was like, this movie's broken into 3 acts. You have the continuation of Far From Home, and then you have the team up movie, and then you have Spider-Verse. And I gotta say, and this is my biggest complaint about, my only complaint about No Way Home, in my viewpoint, my eyes, is the fucking first act. The first act, to me, is complete garbage. Even with the cameo appearance of Matt Murdock, which I was so fucking livid at, because that caught me by surprise. I did not know Matt Murdock was showing up, and they got Charlie Cox to play him again, and I was so happy at that. But even that was not satisfying enough, because the movie felt like a continuation of Far From Home, where they're all joking, they're all taking these little dumb little fucking kitty ass jokes off of a situation that's so serious, which is Peter's identity being, exposed. And they're taking it all as a joke. But what was saving it and what was keeping me on was the consequence. And let me keep saying this again. Consequence with fucking punishment, which is something Spider-Man has always had. Consequence with punishment. Something that was barely lacking in all the Spider-Man movies leading up to this point was consequence with huge punishment. You are a fucking vigilante? Well, tough shit. We don't want you in our fucking college, because if you come to our college, other people, fuckheads are gonna come and disrupt our fucking school. I was like, whoa. And what sold it for me was MJ's reaction. Shout outs to Zendaya. Zendaya was doing such a fucking amazing job. This movie literally was giving Zendaya the fucking work. And Zendaya, for the first time ever, I can buy why Tom loved Zendaya. Why this Peter Parker would love this girl. Because she is so supportive. She was so in on everything. She was just like, I'm down for it. Yo, Peter, as long as you tell me what we doing, I'm down for it. And even when they kept rejecting her, she was like, I'm gonna set myself up for disappointment, but at least we got each other. I'm like, she's a ride to die girl. I was like, yo, I love this fucking woman. I love this. I love her. Ned was still fucking annoying, but whatever. But the first half of the movie wasn't working. But that relationship and, that whole consequence, and then you get Alfred Molina. I mean, you get the fucking old school villains popping up. That was kept me. Then we get into the second half, and this movie went completely fucking off the rails bonkers. This is when this movie became a whole different movie. And I was just livid. I was like, what? It's like you had to go through the pits of fucking fire to order the way to get up to the fucking gods of heaven. And it was the most satisfying shit when it was Stephen Strange and Peter arguing about ideologies, and Peter saying thanks to Aunt May, which Aunt May in this movie got a huge upgrade. She actually gives words of wisdom and was like, yo, Peter, you cannot let these people die, because that's not we at at feasts do. That's not what I would do. We help people because it's the right thing to do. We give people second chances because everybody deserves a second chance. I was like, Aunt May is giving fucking wisdom, which Aunt May always have done in all the interpretations of Spider-Man. She's always been that one to give fucking wisdom to Peter. And to have her come out and say that, which inspires Peter to actually wants to go and actually save all the villains from all previous different dimensions to help them. And then Steven, who has a more narcissistic viewpoint and then saying, you know, that they're from a different universe and we don't, that's none of our business. To have those two ideologies clash, which is something none of these fucking Spider-Man movies have done. This is by far the best way how to do a team up. Also, to add on, like, this movie also finally addresses one of my biggest problems with the MCU Spider-Man is that he doesn't empathize with his villains. So to have him and Doctor Strange argue their ideology and have Peter literally fight to save these villains and understand where they were coming from, it's such a Spider-Man thing, and I was so happy and so satisfied with what it ultimately led up to. And when the two heroes' ideologies are clashing, viewpoints are clashing, and you just get this cool little fight scene, which I know some people are gonna see like, how the fuck did Spider-Man win that? Boo-boos. This is the same Spider-Man that went against the X-Men and won, baby. Like, like, come on. Like, Spider-Man can hold his own in a fight. A lot of people underestimate that motherfucker, but again, and also it made sense. He knew his math. He knew how to navigate the fucking place. So it made sense enough. But the rest of the movie, I was just like, oh my goodness. This whole movie is just fucking amazing. And then you get to the third act and it literally becomes a fucking Spider-Verse movie. It literally becomes a Spider-Verse movie right after Aunt May dies, which I didn't even tear up, but I felt the emotional weight because Aunt May, you get fucking Willem Dafoe, the GOAT, coming out and basically fucking saying we're gods. Why should we give up our powers? Fuck you, Peter. Fuck you. Like, that's great that you want to help us, but no, fuck you, bro. Fuck you. And was wrecking his shit. And to see Aunt May step up to save her son like a good parent would, and had to make that ultimate sacrifice for Peter and get hit by the fucking glider. I was like, fuck. But for her to get hit by the glider and try to walk it off and just make sure that Peter's okay, and is like, yo, I'm proud of you, and then collapse and then dies in his arm, but gives him with great power comes great responsibility line. To flip that instead of Uncle Ben giving him and Aunt May giving him, that was beautiful. I was like, this movie is off the fucking chain. I was like, what am I watching? What am I watching? Did I write the script? Oh, did somebody literally watch my video and said, we're gonna give you what you want? And this literally was the best thing. I'm sorry that she died, but I felt like it was so earned. Now, granted, if they had built up to this Aunt May's death, I probably would have shed a tear. I was more emotional because of Tom's reaction to it. But that whole shit was just like, was so acted so well. And the simple fact that she gave him with great power comes great responsibility line. The original fucking line from Amazing Fantasy 15, the original fucking line was wow, and the movie wasn't even done yet. The movie wasn't even fucking done yet. And I was like, this movie is the fucking best thing. We ain't even get to fucking Toby and Andrew yet. And I was like, this movie's had me sold. And the simple fact, let's talk about Andrew. Andrew came into this movie and he had only, I want to say, 30 to 40 minutes to act his ass off and to show people why he could have been a great Spider-Man. I should say, Tobey had to come in and say, you're just as good as all of us. Could not believe it that Andrew had a moment to shine. And there was so much good moments and so much implication in Andrew's Spider-Man that after Gwen died, his Spider-Man went to a more of a darker, more cynical viewpoint. Even though he continued to fight, he literally became a murderer. So fascinating. The highlight of him was him saving fucking MJ. And MJ literally, Andrew literally was crying. Because he finally got to do something he never got to do. Is save the person, save somebody, save the love interest. He finally got to redeem himself. That whole third act is literally redemption for all the Spider-Man. Whether it be Andrew not being able to save Gwen, or rather it be Tobey, the fucking goat, which I ain't even say. The fucking goat appears in this movie. And the fucking goat, you can tell he's gotten older, but fucking Tobey Maguire comes on the screen and he didn't miss a fucking beat. This man literally felt like he came straight from the Raimi trilogy. He didn't miss a fucking beat. And that was the beauty part. Is that when he was when he was stopping Tom Holland from killing Green Goblin, you could get the sense that that was his redemption of saving Norman Osborn, because he didn't do it. I was like, yo, this movie, I was just so stunned by some of the stuff that happened. I was like, this is fucking genius. I didn't even get to talk about one of the most gut-punching emotional moments for me is when Doc Ock and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man talks. And it's this genuine, like, father and son reuniting moment where Doc Ock is like, how you been? You're grown up, my son. How are you? And Tobey, with fucking heart and love, just says, I'm trying to do better. That shit had me fucking tearing up. This movie, yo, that is a line I think all of us can relate to. And that was such a beautiful moment. This movie is fucking beautiful, man. And then you get this beautiful sacrifice near the end for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, where he's literally like tells Stephen Strange, like, Strange, make everybody forget me. Make everybody forget me, because they're gonna come. And they're gonna come and hurt the people I love. So you gotta come and just erase me. And then again, Zendaya fucking acting her ass off. Tom tells her the news and she's in denial. She's like, no. You can't do this. You can't do this. And my son is like, don't worry. I'm gonna tell you guys when the time is right. When the time is right, I'm going to tell you guys who I am and whatnot. This is not the end. We'll meet again. And then the spell happens and all that bullshit. And the scene that touched me, there was multiple scenes, but this scene, when he goes to the coffee shop from the beginning of the movie, and he's reintroducing himself into MJ. He's going to reintroduce himself to MJ. And MJ literally is like, can I help you? Can I give you some coffee? What do you want? What do you want? And he's about to tell MJ the whole story and whatnot, but he generally sees that Ned and MJ are excited to go to MIT, go to college. They're so excited. And he sees that MJ has the scar from the battle, and he's just, the fucking growth, the growth, finally growth. The simple fact that he stops and he's like, she asks him, is there anything else you want? And he says, that'll be all. And just leaves. I was so fucking livid. I was like, what am I watching? This is a fucking fever dream, bro. Like, I could not believe it. And at the end, when he's at his new apartment, no one remembers him. He's back to basics. He's gotta, I guess he gotta re-get his high school diploma because no one knows who he is. Everybody, nothing, loses everything. Aunt May's gone. Happy doesn't know who he is. The Avengers don't know who he is. Tony's gone because he's dead. MJ is not only gone, doesn't remember who he is, but, you know, Ned doesn't know who he is. Stephen Strange don't know who he is. No one knows who he is. He doesn't have his gadgets. He doesn't have anything except a fucking bummy ass apartment, and that's about it. I was sitting there in the theater and was like, this is beautiful. But the moment that capsulated everything for me is when he pulls out in his book, in the package, he pulls out the toy that Ned Lee had in Homecoming, the fucking Star Wars toy, and the Starbucks cup from that MJ gave him, the coffee cup, and next is a fucking sewing machine, and he makes his own fucking Spider-Man suit, which you can clearly tell. It was huge inspired by hanging out with the other two Spider-Man. And it's so bright and it's colorful. And the final web swinging scene. Again, I was tearing the fuck up with applause. Because despite all Peter's loss, despite losing everybody, losing everything, he still dons the fucking costume. Because he understands and he gains the famous quote, with great power comes great responsibility. The whole premise of fucking Spider-Man is that no matter how hard you get knocked down, no matter how hard life throws shit at you, you can always rise up. And to see him in that bright fucking costume swinging through a cold ass New York was the best fucking moment of my life. I was crying of tears of joy because that was such you may think it's the worst ending, a sad ending, a thing, but that was the most hopeful fucking ending I've seen in a Spider-Man movie in a long time. Through all the bullshit and all the loss, he is still determined to do what's necessary. Because that's what fucking Spider-Man do. That's what makes him Spider-Man. This movie was fucking amazing. I'm lost for words. Like I said, is it perfect? Fuck no. Is it better than fucking Tobey's? Hell no. Did I need 6 movies to get this? Fuck no. Is it better than Into the Spider-Verse? Hell no. Is it better than fucking Spider-Man 2? Hell no. Is it better than Spider-Man 1? Hell no. But you know fucking what? It's still a great movie. It is by far one of the strongest fucking Spider-Man movies, and it's by far the best Spider-Man movie I've seen in a very long while. This is by far the strongest Spider-Man movie I've seen. And the simple fact that they got all these cast members to come back from the trilogy, from all different Spider-Man trilogy. This movie was a celebration of Spider-Man in movie format. This was a celebration of Andrew's trilogy and Tobey's trilogy and Tom's trilogy, all in one. And I could talk about all the cool little fun little Easter eggs / nods. I could throw all out that it was cool to see the two Peters talk about Tobey's like organic webs. It was cool for them to point at each other and do the whole pointing meme. Yeah, it was cool to see Willem Dafoe fucking do. Yeah, I'm something of a scientist myself. That's all fucking fine and dandy. But at the heart of this movie was the story of Tom Holland's Spider-Man becoming fucking Spider-Man. And as someone who's been jaded for fucking 5 years of this Spider-Man and not getting the Spider-Man I wanted, when that final web swinging scene came, I didn't look at him as no fucking Iron Man Jr. I didn't look at him as Spider-Boy. I was like, motherfucker, that's fucking Spider-Man. That's my Spider-Man, bruh. And I was so happy. This movie is awesome. If you have not watched No Way Home, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to see this shit. I don't care if you gotta rob a motherfucker. I don't care what you have to do. See this movie. This movie is fan-fucking-tastic. And I can finally die with some fucking pride. I can die and fucking go to bed at night resting knowing that I enjoyed the MCU Spider-Man. I don't need a new trilogy, but we're gonna get one. And the sky's the limit on what we can do on the new trilogy, because now we've gotten a traditional Spider-Man, and I am very, very satisfied. That being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up because I have nothing more to say on this. This is by far one of my favorite movies of the year. Easily. I enjoyed this movie. And I'm sorry for those who did not, but damn. You see, I can change my mind. That's the beauty of life, is that we can all change our mind. But yeah, this was a great movie. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please like, comment, rate, all that fun stuff. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.